Good Friday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Johnny Lively for our Friday morning update and what to expect this weekend as the summer-like pattern has started up. Let's dive into the show, sponsored by HB Neal Construction. You look at the Tamco Live Doppler radar, there is really not much going on this morning. It is mostly quiet, or actually, it is quiet. We're seeing a little bit of radar noise. This is likely just some birds that are moving over there towards the KLC radar towards Lake Charles this morning. But other than that, it is actually pretty quiet across the south. We're seeing some isolated showers starting to move into the Mobile, Pensacola, Florida area, but a little bit more active in parts of the plains, getting into Arkansas and Missouri this morning. But here overall in the state of Texas and Louisiana, pretty quiet. We're really going to see that kind of stick around through the weekend. You can see that boundary is what's kind of bringing in some of those showers over there in Arkansas and Missouri. We're seeing clouds moving in from the west here in Texas. But other than that, it is pretty quiet thanks to our sponsor of Tamco Hellguard Beyond Class 4, showing us what's going on the satellite and radar this Friday morning. Temperatures are pretty warm and muggy out there, but we see this time of year in May and June. You got the middle to upper 70s sneaking into the coast, and along the I-10 corridor is mostly into the low to mid 70s, upper 60s to low 70s across the general region just north of the I-10 corridor, thanks to a sponsor of Neutron Electrical Services. Take a look at what's going on for outdoor and construction forecast for today by Modern Concrete Material. Yesterday, today, and through the weekend, they are definitely going to be busy because it's going to be mostly dry. If we're going to have a chance for a lonely isolated shower or a lonely isolated storm, coverage is really just about 2%, 5% at best. That's just being nice and friendly. As you get into this time period, this summer-like pattern, you start seeing just mostly dry conditions with a very small chance for an isolated shower. Main story is it's going to get warm very quickly. Upper 80s to low 90s is what we're expecting this afternoon, really all through the weekend. It's going to be pretty hot, as Glenn Fry would say. The heat is definitely on. As we look into what's going on in the Futurecast, sponsored by Switch Electric, we've got somewhat of the flow coming out of the west. This is bringing in more of that drier air content. Low to mid to even the upper levels are pretty dry. We've got that high pressure down towards the south that's really suppressing any type of shower or thunderstorm opportunity that we have. So we're going to be hot, we're going to be dry, not only today, through the weekend. And if we zoom out a little bit, by this afternoon and evening time, we might start seeing some clouds moving in from the west. But that's really kind of the biggest thing. If you're looking for any showers or thunderstorms, that will be well off towards the east and parts of Lafayette, getting into parts of Mississippi and Alabama. That's where the rain will be kind of the next couple of days. Other than that, we're going to be pretty dry here. But we've got some big changes come in. This is sponsored by Do Good Credit Union. If I move out of the way for a second, thanks for a sponsor of Do Good. Really want to show that we're going to be dry now through the weekend. Now, as we get into Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, we start seeing some of this moisture kind of pushing in, but the big story is as we get into early next week, mainly into next week, notice that deep moisture pushing into the region. I'm not going to lie, we're not going to sit here and not talk about it, but we've been seeing, this has been happening the last couple of years, the GFS model. It's American-made model. Let me zoom out for just a second. A lot of times, this model smells some rain over there in Cancun. This model turns this thing into a major hurricane, and it brings it into the Gulf. In fact, it does this every single year for the last 5 to 7 years. Last year, it showed about 30 major hurricanes hitting from Corpus Christi all the way to New York. How did that work out? It didn't. Well, that's exactly what this model is showing again. It's showing a major hurricane trying to form into the Gulf next week. Not going to happen. Lots of wind shear is what we're seeing in the Gulf. What we are going to see is just like the European model is showing, lots of deep tropical moisture is pushing into our region as we are getting into the start of hurricane season. Sure, we will watch for the potential for a tropical depression to tropical storm. End of the day, this is deep tropical moisture that's flowing into parts of the state of Texas, Louisiana, really along the Gulf Coast. More than anything, this increases our chance of rain. We're not expecting anything too drastic here. You're going to see a lot of these hype pages that are saying, hey, a major hurricane's coming. Just come on now. Let's just get over this. What we're seeing is deep tropical moisture that's going to be pushing into parts of the Gulf Coast, especially into our area. This, more than anything, increases our rain potential. Mostly dry through today, through the weekend, that summer-like pattern, but as we get into next week, deep tropical moisture is flowing in. That means the rain chances definitely will increase. We'll watch for some tropical mischief, but other than that, this is just deep tropical moisture pushing in. We do this every single year, and every single year we have to kind of hush up some of these hype pages. We don't hype here at Gulf Coast Weather Solutions. It's going to be hot. I'm telling you, it's going to be pretty hot today. Pretty warm. Upper 80s to low 90s is what we'll be seeing. A very, very small chance for an isolated shower at best. 10% coverage really along the Texas-Louisiana border into southwest Louisiana. But Houston and pretty much majority of southeast Texas, if not all of us, we are dry. Thanks for sponsor of Silsby Ford. Get you one. It's going to be a dry Friday all the way through the weekend. And overnight tonight, those lows are going to start getting warmer the next couple of nights, especially once that deep tropical moisture moves in next week. But overall, we're seeing those temperatures spread from the low 70s into the upper 70s down towards the coast. I know you probably are getting tired of it. Rain chances are sticking around a lot as we get into next week. We just talked about that deep tropical moisture. This is pretty much middle of next week into next weekend, just showing that the south is going to kind of keep those rain chances alive. In fact, if you want to kind of look in, parts of West Texas, Central Texas, and getting into our backyard has above average potential for some rain really as we get into middle to end of next week. Here's our forecast for southeast Texas. Mostly dry and hot today through the weekend. And as we get into Monday, that deep tropical moisture starts flowing in, which increases our rain coverage as we get into early to middle of next week. And the same thing for southwest Louisiana. The biggest thing you're going to see is nice dry conditions today through the weekend, and deep tropical moisture is pushing in here as we get into next week. Will kind of help lower our afternoon high temperatures with the cloud cover and the rain, but we are going to see those overnight lows kind of get more muggier and more sticky as we get into next week. Wonderful time to go download the free Gulf Coast Weather Solutions app. It's dry today. It's dry through the weekend, but we're talking about a pretty wet forecast as we get into next week. So a good time to go download the free Gulf Coast Weather Solutions app to keep you updated, and we can continue to keep sending out those push notifications of what's going on. So we'll have more posts throughout the day today, but thank y'all for tuning in to the Friday morning show. Have a wonderful Friday and a good weekend. Lots of stuff that we can get done outdoors today and through the weekend. Y'all have a good one. Thanks again for tuning in. Have a good Friday.
Gulf Coast Weather Solutions is sponsored by
At Gulf Coast Weather Solutions, we focus on delivering reliable weather forecasts. Our new app provides reliable weather updates and alerts no matter where you are. With real-time weather alerts and warnings, you can stay informed and prepared wherever you go. Download the Gulf Coast Weather Solutions app today on the App Store and Google Play and stay connected no matter where you are.